Did you know the man who made photography accessible to the masses lived in a mansion with a built in pipe organ and an elephant head in the sunroom? Today, we're stepping into the fascinating world of George Eastman, the founder of Kodak and a true pioneer of modern photography. Welcome to Pop Culture Passport, your ultimate guide to quirky and cool destinations across the US. I'm your host, Beth Scalacci, aka the Roman Yeti, here to help you dive into the world of theme parks, uncover film and TV locations, and explore quirky museums, roadside attractions, and legendary venues that capture the heart and soul of this unique country. So grab your pop culture passport and let's discover destinations that resonate with your interest, not just with what's trending on social media. Are you ready? Let's roam! Welcome back. We are heading to Rochester, New York today to visit the incredible George Eastman Museum. Located on George Eastman's former estate, this place is part historic mansion, part world-class photography museum, and part beautifully curated experience. Now, we went there a couple months ago, and I'm really excited about sharing this experience with you. I've been sitting on this script in this episode for a while, so here it is. But it's a destination that really blends like innovation, art, and a whole lot of personality with George Eastman. Um, if you love vintage cameras, classic films, or just like some cool nostalgia, you're gonna enjoy this place. So, George Eastman completely changed the way we capture the world. Before Kodak, photography was complicated, it was expensive, and it was only accessible really to professionals. But Eastman had a vision to make photography as easy to use as a pencil. In 1888, he introduced roll film and the iconic Kodak camera with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." Suddenly, everyday people could take photographs without needing a darkroom or technical skills. This breakthrough didn't just impact photography, it paved the way for motion pictures and made visual storytelling really a part of our everyday life. Now, Eastman was also a remarkable philanthropist. Over his lifetime, he donated more than $100 million to schools, hospitals, and cultural institutions. He founded the Eastman School of Music and was a big supporter of children's dental care. Not something you would typically associate with a film pioneer. But he had this he was so private and he was meticulous. He never married. He kept a close-knit circle of friends, and he lived in a home that reflected both his practical side and his flair for the dramatic, let's just say. The George Eastman Museum opened in 1949, making it the oldest photography museum in the world and one of the most respected film archives. It's located in Eastman's original mansion built in 1905 and transformed after his death to preserve his legacy and the history of photography and cinema. Now, the museum now houses 400,000 photographs, 16,000 cameras, and more than 28,000 films, including rare and early prints. Its Dryden Theater is one of the few places in the world that can still safely project nitrate film. So it's not just a museum, it's a hub for film preservation, education, and innovation. The museum also supports cutting edge preservation science and collaborates with the University of Rochester for graduate education in film and photographic conservation. It's a place where history of storytelling through images is carefully preserved and constantly celebrated. Now, when we arrived, we were met with a very friendly staff member as we paid and got a map and got a, sort of explained to how to get around the place. And she also explained how to use a free smartphone audio tour. Note to self, bring your AirPods or some kind of earbuds the next time because we didn't have anything. But luckily there are plenty of information signs throughout the museum. You definitely know what's going on. We started out by watching a short intro video about Eastman's life. And, for some reason, always very obscure things sort of stick in my mind. But there was one line that really stuck with me, and that was he was always trying to perfect his lemon meringue pie recipe. which I just was like, that's so interesting, but also random. But the cool thing is, later in the mansion's dining room, I spotted a pie on display, and yeah, it was lemon meringue. It's those little details that just really made his history feel personal, and I just love that they sort of celebrated that there. So, definitely a fun thing to look out for if you go. So from the lobby, we headed to the photography museum section. We walked through the exhibits and we were just immediately drawn in. Some of the photographs moved me with like their lighting and composition, and others moved me with their subjects. And because we arrived right at opening, the space was quiet and empty, and it really just gave us time to stand in front of those photos and read about them and really just take them in. Now, one of the most beautiful displays was this wall of colorful dye bottles, and it was arranged like a rainbow behind glass. These were actual dyes used in Kodak's labs for developing color film, specifically Kodachrome and similar processes. And this vibrant display just honored the chemical innovation behind the scenes of photography, the stuff we don't really think about. Because Eastman did his job, we don't have to think about it. How science helped bring this color into our captured memories. And it was just stunning, almost like this abstract art installation. And it just stopped me in my tracks. And I think obviously that was the purpose of it. But if you ever go and you see it, you'll know what I'm trying to say. Another highlight for me was the camera history gallery. This room just walks you through the evolution of photography, and it's filled with shelves and cases showing cameras from the earliest day all the way to digital ages. It had box cameras, folding cameras, spy cams, Polaroids, even prototypes, and each one really told a story of how photography and memory keeping had changed. There were even sub-miniature cameras used for espionage and massive wooden field cameras from the 1800s, I mean. But my favorite, okay, it was this charming small blue camera. And the cool thing about it, it came with a matching compact and lipstick case. I mean, it felt something out of a total old Hollywood film. It was so much fun. And from there, we entered the mansion. And honestly, this place is stunning. It's set up to feel like you're walking back in time to visit George Eastman in his own home. The work this the work the museum and mansion have done to take care of this place is just it's gorgeous. So to me, one of the most jaw-dropping features is the built-in pipe organ that runs throughout the house. It has over 6,000 organ pipes hidden in the wall. And Eastman would host lunchtime concerts with live musicians filling the home with music, and it was theatrical in the best way possible. And of course, there's also the infamous elephant head mounted in the solarium, and it's a nod to Eastman's interest in trophy hunting. And while it was common at the time, it feels, unsettling today. And there were other hunting trophies too, including some really odd ashtrays made from hooves. So it was really strange, but it added to the mansion's historical quirks and its accuracy. Um, but some of them just looked so out of place and so weird. Um, but again, it started allowing you to really paint this picture in your mind of who this man was. Now, unfortunately, we were there in the winter, so the gardens weren't open for the season, but they're supposed to be beautiful. I've seen pictures in spring and summer, and I guess it's just another good excuse for me to go back um, and check the place out again. And if you need a break while visiting, there's a small cafe where you can grab a bite. I think people were actually just eating there and not also checking out the museum. I'm not sure, but it looked very cute. Definitely something to check out if you get hungry while you're there, or when you're planning what time to go. So the Dryden Theater, which is also located on the property, regularly shows classic foreign and experimental films. films. And what makes it really unique is that it projects movies on their original formats. So 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter, or even nitrate. And like I said, it's one of the very few theaters in the world that can do that safely. Now, we didn't catch a film on this trip. We didn't even get into the theater, but the idea of watching a classic film in such an authentic setting is again another reason to go back and check it out. And I gotta say, I think if you live in the area and these old movies are your thing, like I think if you get a museum membership, it includes theater admission. So, I mean, that would be a pretty cool deal and something to think about. Now, overall, tickets were $22 a person to get into the facility, and we spent about 2 hours exploring. If the gardens were open, we probably would have spent another one. It really was worth every minute between the photography exhibits, the camera gallery, and the historic mansion. The theater is just really the museum is just really a cool place, and some place I think you should check out. So honestly, if you love photography, film, architecture, gardens, or just sort of hidden gems with characters, this place is absolutely worth the visit. Even if you're not a camera buff, um, it's just really inspiring to see how one person's vision changed the way we see and share the world. Um, and also just sort of seeing that human side behind someone who did something so remarkable was really just interesting and sort of humbling for me. Um, I will say visiting the George Eastman house really gave me a new appreciation for photography. Not just as a tool, but as sort of an art form and a way to tell more stories. It reminded me that innovation doesn't have to be flashy. Sometimes it's just about making something simpler to use and meaningful for more people to use. And that's exactly what George Eastman did. He helped people tell their stories, um, which in a way is what I'm trying to do here as well. But like I said, I ever since being there, I've the way I take way I take photos has sort of changed, and the way I'm sharing them in some in the newsletter, and I I guess I can announce here I think I'm gonna have a video YouTube series sort of based on photography. So stay tuned for that announcement. See, now I said it out loud to you guys, so I have to do it, right? um But for this week's Yeti Pop pick, I just want to remind you about two things. First, you can get a fun roaming Yeti bingo card for your travels this summer just by signing up for the newsletter at theroamingyeti.com. And also, if you want to find more places like the Eastman Museum on your own, head over to my site, quirkyandcool.com. Has a directory by location, interest. Check that out as you're traveling this summer. If you're using it, I would love to hear what your experience is. Um, so that would be great. I appreciate you. And with that, we add another stamp to our pop culture passport. I hope that this episode inspires you to get out and explore all that is quirky and cool, even in your own backyard. Follow, download, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Tell a friend and leave a review if you like what we're doing. It really does help the show to grow. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. Just search for The Roaming Yeti. Keep roaming and finding your fun.